Aries 27. Lost opportunity regained in the imagination. It's the imagination, really, that's closer to our sense of reality than what is perceived as the facts of the matter. And that is because we have to assimilate our perceptions, the facts of the matter, into our beingness using the imagination. We have to make it up. And we have to understand that the way we make it up is very personal. Despite all the advice we're getting from agencies that don't really know what they're talking about, when we're young we spend most of our time talking to other kids. And also parents that don't really know how to do parenting very well, typically. So we're not getting very good advice. And that advice that we are getting from is usually corrupted by the fact that the giver of the advice has an agenda, like our teachers at school. So we come through this jungle of confusion, trying to work it out. What's right here? Bit by bit, we come to an understanding of what works in the world and what works for us in terms of what we think is right, who we are. And to try and reconcile those two things leads to personal wisdom. Now, if we consolidate those understandings into principles, then we don't have to go back and look at them again every time a decision comes up. Consolidating your own personal wisdom as your own personal choice of who you are in new situations is the foundation of a strong, healthy approach to life. Without that foundation, confusion is certain, no doubt about it. And also seduction is certain, and self-betrayal therefore is certain. We have to develop principles by which to live, and this is the foundation of our life. Now those principles might start out as non-violence, for example, or truth, or justice, or whatever. And you might refine that, and you might put your lines in place. Stealing is okay if there's no victim. That might be your philosophy. So you can steal from a rich person but not a poor person, if that's your philosophy. Giving to the poor if they seem to be sincere, but you don't give to a person who seems to be insincere. You work it out for yourself, and then you'll make a principle, and you won't have to think about it next time the question comes up. So this enables us, when we do this, to gain command of our situations in our life. Think of our lives as a river. There is a track, and yet it's changing all the time. It's changing. The track of our lives, the projection into the future, is somewhat defined, but not completely. The moment, each moment of a river is different. It's made up of different droplets of water within the same track. And our lives are like that. And so, in this ever-changing expression of who we are, sometimes we're going to be given questions that we haven't met before, and we need to refer not to other people, but to our principles. What do we do to express our principles in this situation? If we do that, then we actually take command of life, and this ends or seriously diminishes the confusion of mind. The confusion of mind necessitates a confusion of life. There's no way around that. You cannot be a confused person and have a life which is straightforward. It won't happen. If you want a clear life, then you have to clear your mind. And without a clear life, a peaceful life is not attainable either. A peaceful life is clear, and a confused life is stressful and therefore damaging to the health, certainly damaging to our sense of well-being. So to operate in terms of commanding your life in a clear-minded way, this foundation principle is important. The principles which make up our foundation. Then we can make our plans with this sense of knowing what it is we want, because we know who we are, we know how that will look when we project it onto the world, and so we can make a plan, and we keep to our plan. The typical young person would not do that because they want to be free and spontaneous, and they feel that any plan at all is an imposed authority, even if it's self-imposed. They don't like that, typically. I overgeneralize perhaps, but the people that want to experience freedom tend not to be able to control and command their future quite as clearly as those who actually have developed the command. Now, the freedom I'm talking about is not freedom of creative expression. It's freedom from principles. I'll do that if I feel like it, I won't if I don't feel like it. Sometimes I'm nice to people, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm truthful, sometimes I'm not. This unprincipled way of life that seems to be the expression of spontaneous freedom, it's a very shallow illusion. It seems that these people are free, but only for a while, only in the moment. Sooner or later, the uncertainty, the confusion catches up, and something arises which is just wrong, and you just don't know what to do because you don't have a principle to deal with it. And you find that your spontaneous attitude to life eventually becomes samey. It's not spontaneous anymore. Oh yeah, let's go out and have a good time. And then, well, it's Friday, let's go out and have a good time. It's Friday, let's go out and have a good time. And it becomes a rut, a wheel of continual, repetitive, boring stuff that you did last week. That's what happens if you don't live according to your plans and your command. The river is powerful. It will take you wherever you allow it to. And if your attitude towards life is to allow things, then you'll be taken where the river takes you. Now, sometimes that's okay, but not always. However fluid you are, however flowing you like to think your life is, it will come to a point where you have to say, no, that's not me. That's not what I want. That's not who I am. I'm not doing it. I'm going to be strong in this. You have to come to that point. And it's better to come to that point before that emergency. First of all, that puts off the emergency completely. You don't have to deal with anything that you've dealt with already. So if you've actually come up with your idea about what works in life and who you are in life, then you won't be tested again and again and again, and you won't be made confused repeatedly either, because you know who you are. You'll have this strength of a platform, a springboard, and you can then go further into the farthest reaches of your soul's imagination. It's that straightforward, really. If you want to be confused, fine, but if you actually want to deal clearly with your life and get on with expressing fully your potential, then you have to set in place firm foundation principles.